Tonight we'll tell you what could get your children turned away from their classrooms in the morning. And the latest as deputies investigate human remains found in Deschutes County. Plus, students at COCC's Bend campus were evacuated today. Details on why right now on NewsChannel 21.
Now, from Central Oregon's news leader, this is NewsChannel 21 at 11.
Good evening, I'm Lee Anderson. New tonight, 2 patrol sergeants with the Deschutes County Sheriff's Office are on administrative leave tonight pending an internal investigation. The Sheriff's Office says both Deke DeMars and Kevin Disney are the subjects of an administrative inquiry into, quote, alleged policy violations. DeMars was suspended last Tuesday. Disney's leave began today. The Sheriff's Office did not offer any further information on what may have happened or whether the suspensions are related. This comes on the heels, and not related, of inmate death this morning at the Deschutes County Jail. Jail deputies say they found 33-year-old Chad Bomar in his cell around 10 a.m. Bomar was arrested on robbery charges and was scheduled for arraignment tomorrow.
Staff discovered him on a routine round when they were doing just shortly after breakfast. They went in to do their routine round, and then they discovered him unresponsive, and they made immediate entry into the cell to do life-saving precautions to him. And he did have a cellmate at the time.
The Oregon State Police are investigating the death. The Sheriff's Office is calling it an apparent suicide attempt. Jail deputies responded to 17 suicide attempts in the jail last year. A Terrebonne man's facing an attempted aggravated murder charge after police say he tried to kill an Oregon City police officer. Police say 31-year-old Bo Wilcox shot at the police sergeant last week as the officer responded to a domestic disturbance call. Wilcox told a reporter he was not trying to hurt the officer. He says he's been struggling with his mental health since his daughter died. A death investigation is underway after a hiker found skeletal remains south of Bend. Deschutes County Sheriff's deputies are looking into the case. The hiker found the remains yesterday about half a mile south of Deschutes River Woods across from the Lava Butte Scales. State medical examiners will now try to identify who died and how that person died. 10 agencies are working 12-hour shifts to clean up a gasoline spill on Oregon Highway 22 east of Salem and Detroit Lake tonight. This after a tanker owned by Space Age Fuel crashed early Sunday morning. It spilled about 7,800 gallons of gas, some of which seeped into the North Sandiam River. 2,800 gallons have been recovered at this hour, with booms now along the riverbank to prevent any more fuel from getting into the water. Well, the highway is still closed, Highway 22 from Idana to the Highway 20 junction. ODOT says that closure should last until Friday evening at the very earliest. It was day 2 for Central Oregon with clear skies and above average temperatures. Katie Tsunika says we should see at least one more day like today before some changes begin. Let's get a first look at our local alert weather. Here's Katie.
Lee, our satellite radar tonight is pretty much the exact same as it was this time last night. Really no activity, not much motion, no clouds overhead, and we're not expecting to see any clouds overhead tonight or into tomorrow. It might be tomorrow evening, maybe early hours of Thursday before we see any clouds or substantial clouds moving into the region. Here's a look at our temperatures right now. We're still in the 20s. We're actually a little bit warmer right now than we were this time yesterday, but our overnight lows eventually will be cooler tonight than yesterday. We're looking at dipping down into the single digits and the teens for most of us here in Central Oregon, so it's going to be a chilly start to the morning tomorrow. Our winds have backed off even more. We're at 5 miles per hour in Redmond and 6 miles per hour in Warm Springs, just a couple in Sisters one in Sisters and a couple in Lapine. Tomorrow these winds should pick back up to that 5 to 10 miles per hour, and a general shift is going to be happening from the north to the south. I'll walk you through that, how much warmer we're going to get, and when our next chance for precipitation is. That's coming up in your full forecast in just a bit. Lee, back to you.
If your children's immunizations are not up to date tomorrow, the children won't be able to go to school. State law requires all students have up-to-date immunization records or have a medical or non-medical exemption on file at their schools. Last year, Deschutes County sent about 1,000 letters to families who didn't have their records up to date. When exclusion day rolled around, 200 kids had to stay home. This year, they sent out about 800 letters. Police evacuated the Jungers Culinary Center at COCC in Bend this morning due to a hoax bomb threat. Police say it was made by a student on social media. Police evacuated the building around 8:15. School officials say there were about 20 students and 5 staff members inside. We talked to Ron Paradis from COCC. He told News Channel 21 the college and Bend police will not press charges against the student.
We're not discussing anything about the person that made the threat, except to say that we have talked to them and we'll proceed from there. Somebody had let us know that they'd seen it on social media and what it said, and so it was enough for us to be cautious and evacuate the building in order to be sure.
Officials are not releasing the name of the student who made the threat. The evacuation lasted about 45 minutes. Police have still not found the Bend man suspected of setting fire to his motorhome last week at Crown Villa Park on Broster House Road. Now the neighbors are concerned. About a week before Brian Lindley allegedly set his RV on fire, he was released from jail. We talked to some neighbors today who did not want to be identified. One said she witnessed and reported incidents from Lindley's RV with no resolution from park management. Another neighbor said his trailer was damaged by the arson fire as well. They even asked the front desk if Lindley's trailer could be moved to another spot.
We complained and complained and complained, nothing happened. We asked them to move him to another site, nothing happened. So we were not surprised when he went in and blew up his RV, allegedly, I suppose. But from what his son had told us, that's exactly what he did. Our biggest fear now is we've had people coming through, scavenging around in this place. We're worried about the guy coming back. He's still at large.
Obviously, it got so hot that it melted. Like there's the ring around the door, all the seals on the windows, all the seals are all coming loose now. So it's melted something. Our awnings, you can see they're melted tight to each other now. So rolling it out is tearing loose. And so a bunch of damage, and that's what we're just trying to get settled through them.
We reached out to Crown Park Villa and received this statement from their attorney, who says, quote, "This is an ongoing investigation because it is an arson. So far, there's no pending lawsuit. We're continuing to cooperate with law enforcement on this issue," end quote. The city of Bend starts telling the Juniper Ridge homeless camps they need to move within the next 2 months. That happens tomorrow. The city needs to clear that land for the North Interceptor Sewer Line project. The city is working with social service agencies to connect with the homeless with resources. Juniper Ridge is a 500-acre site being developed in Northeast Bend as an industrial and business park. Well, here's that herd of elk you just saw. They were spotted near Tumalo yesterday, not at Juniper Ridge, and they were back again at that Tumalo spot tonight. The herd was hanging out on Ed Bishop's land in Tumalo when he first spotted them, but he was not the first. He says he came home to cars crowded nearby, and later he counted between 100 and 150 elk. They were the first he'd ever seen since moving here 20 years ago.
There's an elk crossing about 2 miles down the road here, west of here, but I've never seen any elks down there either. And sure enough, they were out here in the pasture.
The herd drew more attention from drivers tonight, causing some problems in the area, with several cars pulled over to see the herd and to snap some photos. Later this half hour, we'll have updates on deaths at ski resorts in Oregon and Colorado this week. But first, there's a bill in the Oregon legislature that could keep you from losing your driver license. Details when we return.